Welcome back. This is the Triple Take. I'm Jane.
And I am Michael.
Today, I'm really excited because we're going to talk about Inside Out 2.
I'm excited too.
Yeah. We were really excited to see this. Obviously, this is a sequel to the first installment that came out in 2015. Mentioned that it's Disney Pixar. I really, really enjoy Inside Out. I think the concept is amazing. You know, the engagement of emotions and this idea that there's a control board inside us with all these characters that are kind of managing our emotions and sometimes like getting involved in the decisions we make.
And they do so well with these characters.
Yes. And I think it's such a great way for children to understand the regulation of emotions and to identify emotions as well. And they do that really simply with color. So, for example, anger. Red. Joy is green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
your favorite color, right?
Yes, my favorite color. Yeah. And yeah, I loved this movie. The continuation of it was so smooth and so slick as well. The way they introduced the OGs, the emotions, like I was like, yes, I was just smiling throughout the whole film. Yeah, even now I'm thinking about it, I'm smiling. So obviously Joy is still running the show.
To begin with.
Okay, not yet. And I like the way they introduced all the characters back. So it's like Joy's still there. We've got sadness, we've got anger, we've got disgust, and we've got fear. So we're introduced back to the OGs, like I said again, and that was great. And everything's smiling and everything's great. And Riley is happy because I think at the end of the first one, she wasn't happy because they were moving. This time, she's made friends. Things seem to be great. However, there is a massive change. There's a new button on the control board.
Mm-hmm. And it starts beeping.
Yeah.
Wakes them up from their sleep.
Yeah, this number. It's this big red thing flashing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, puberty.
Right. And did you think the big red button was symbolic of a big red pimple?
Yes. No,
yeah, you just made that connection. Oh
my God, I've just made that connection.
Right.
Yeah. And because it was her 13th birthday.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. It was her 13th birthday.
So she's just become a teenager.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was just like, wow. And I love the whole way they made it a construction site to bring in the new control panel.
Yes.
Of how they introduced the other emotions.
Because before that, didn't Joy try to get rid of the big red button, like catapulted it away?
Oh, listen.
But then the guys still come through the window and start smashing everything up.
Yeah, and what I thought was interesting was Joy, by any means necessary, was going to keep things joyful. So she had created this contraption to throw things all the way to the back of your mind. And I loved that idea because even as an adult, that's at the back of my mind.
I'm going to put that out of my head.
Yeah, put that out of my head. And so for them to visualize that in the way they did was so smart and so clever.
Yeah.
What I think about Inside Out 2 is that this was, even though it's a Disney Pixar film and it's a sequel, this was for adults and for teenagers.
Absolutely.
So my son went to see this and he didn't like it, which I thought was interesting. But
really?
He's 8. And the reason why I realized now that I've seen it, why he didn't like it, is because it's above his age group. He hasn't started puberty. Right. He wouldn't understand the intricacies of what happened.
He didn't grasp the concepts themselves because he's not there yet.
He's not there yet.
Right, whereas that's fascinating.
Whereas with the first one, if you think about it, as an 8-year-old, you understand anger, you understand fear, you understand joy, and you understand sadness. But with the new one, we had anxiety, we had envy, and we had embarrassment.
Was he called Embarrassment? The big guy?
Yeah, embarrassment. That's
and the French lady.
Guy.
What was
the French guy?
Was a dude?
Yeah, he was really laid back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can't remember what his name was.
Yeah.
It was like a French word.
Ennui?
Ennui. Yeah.
So
and that's an emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a French emotion called ennui.
So I was just like, that is too. Yeah, like you said, he's not there yet. So that's why he didn't enjoy the second one. But for me, 10 out of 10. It was the best. I really, 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 really enjoyed it. And I think one of my favorite scenes in the movie was when Riley, who's the main character that we met before, whose mind we're in, she's on the way to hockey camp in her parents' car with her two friends, right? And they've got to tell her something, and she can sense something that they need to tell her something, and then they do what they did in the first movie.
That was a brilliant moment. You go to all the different people's control panels in their minds, in their heads. Yeah.
And they've done that before, and they did it earlier on in Inside Out 2, just before puberty hit. Yeah. Well, when puberty hit, and we go inside. I love going inside the mom's brain.
For sure.
And I like when you go into...
Going inside the parent's brain is as interesting as going into Riley's brain. Yeah. Absolutely.
And they're there drinking coffee.
Yeah.
It's just so reflective of an adult. And I love that emotions look very different. So yes, we're in the mind of a different character, but there's still joy, there's still anger, there's still fear, but they look like the mind. So Riley had a black friend. Yeah. The emotions of the black friend had her hair, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cute." Yeah, so if you are a child, like
this attention to detail is amazing.
I'm telling you, it was brilliant. But in that particular scene that I was talking about, you understood how each person was feeling in that particular scene. Yeah. So they were reluctant and hesitant to tell her. They were worried, they were fearful, they were scared. She was just like, "Oh my God, what have they got to tell me?" And then when they did tell her, it was like, she had to try and play it off. She had to be cool. She didn't get emotional.
She was like,
"You're 13 now.
At least wait till you get out the car." She said,
Get out of the car. Just get out of the car." When she did, she kind of turned to the side. One little tear drop. She's like, "All right, we're at hockey camp. We've got to get it together. We've got to be cool." I think the other concept I liked about this, even though we're at a teenage stage, we didn't interfere with technology. At the moment, as a teenager, technology is the focus of everything, keeping up with social media. At hockey camp, their phones got taken away, and I loved that. That was a nice, subtle way of Pixar being like... I
didn't notice that, and you're right, that is really clever.
Yeah.
They took that element out of the film, but they did it in such a way that's completely understandable and plausible.
Exactly. It was
that's smart writing.
It was really smart, and this is what I mean when things are done really well done, Disney, because I'm not really happy with you guys at the moment, but that's probably because Pixar had a lot to do with it. To think something through like that. You're going to hockey camp. You don't need any other distractions. That's going to be a big distraction. Let's take that phone away. But in fact, that's the storyteller saying to us, we're sticking to what this is all about. This is about emotions, how you manage the emotions. And a lot of the film was to do with how you speak to yourself, your inner voice, like affirmations-wise. When we saw that blue glowy tree, I'm calling
what was that thing called? It was like her self-image or something? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, how she sees herself.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the last film, right?
No, that was a new concept
for this film. And brilliant.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And because she said, "I am a good person." Yeah. And I loved that. That's what I mean about affirmations. And this is why this was not pitched at the younger crowd.
Sure.
It was a more mature crowd. And if you think about it, the age of who the kids would have been in 2015, they've hit them at the right time now for the sequel.
Yes. So you've got the same audience you had going to the first one, now being in a different age bracket, but then continuing with this same story.
Yeah. So let's talk about the introduction of the new characters.
Okay, so this is how you do a sequel, right? So a lot of sequels think, what worked in the last one? Let's do that all over again.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. They recognized that Riley has learnt lessons in the first film.
Yep.
She's got to grips with those emotions.
Yeah.
Right? She's there. She understands what she's doing with that. She's become this great character.
Yeah.
Now she's faced with new emotions that she's not used to.
Okay.
So they're not rehashing the first film. They're progressing the first film.
Yeah.
It's a part 2 in the whole sense.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We're understanding that we're still on the same journey, but we're not going to do the same things again. We're going to grow with Riley.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it is brilliant. And like I said, I come back to this idea of each character having a colour. So anxiety, perfect, absolutely perfect. She was orange. Oh, God, she was just good. And she literally turns up with baggage. You know, I was just like, how clever is that?
Yeah.
Like, anxiety has baggage. Anxiety was a mess. Her hair was like all over the place. It was like jumpy eyebrows. She was really excitable. Her hair was long.
She arrived immediately acting crazy.
Crazy. I was like, who released this one from like, Bedlam? Like, what's going on here? Her polo neck was like really tight. She was just, she was.
Yeah, she looked pent up.
She was anxious. Like, even looking at her, I was like,
you're making me have anxiety.
yeah, I was like, wow. The way they captured the emotion of
Wait,
anxiety.
is that why you've worn orange today?
I'm glad you noticed.
Are you feeling anxiety?
You know what?
I didn't know we were going to dress up for this.
It wasn't my intention, but now you said it, I feel anxious. Oh, my control ball's spiraling out of control, Michael.
Funny.
Yeah, and I loved what they did with embarrassment, the big guy with the hoodie.
Yeah.
And I thought that is another way for
the way he's trying to cover his embarrassment by pulling his hoodie tight.
The kids will understand that, because that's what you do when you get embarrassed. You want to conceal yourself. You want to hide away. That's what I'm saying. Just these small things make such a big difference.
And they've got that, yeah.
And they've got that to a T.
It's an interesting point, actually, because a lot of adults see kids in hoodies and think of them as threatening.
Yeah.
And this is a good image to put forward, that kids putting their hoods up isn't necessarily because they want to be threatening. Maybe they're just feeling self-conscious.
Yeah.
And they're putting their hoods up because they're feeling embarrassed. So, like, just remember, like, we were kids once too. We
were definitely kids once too. And I think when I watch Inside Out, I'm reminded of that, because you're following Riley's journey, right? In this sequel, the journey is her turning 13, starting puberty. There's a change in terms of her next step in terms of her hockey. So she's vying to be, more competitive in terms of her hockey. Her friends are moving to a different school. So there's loss of friendship. We've had to consider all these things are the things you grapple with when you're a teenager, and managing your emotions. When she's at hockey camp, there's someone there that she really admires, that she really wants to aspire to. And so she's
trying to impress that girl. She's doing too much.
Yeah. She was doing the most. Like she's just like, I don't like that boy band. Her friends were trying to bring her out all the time. And they were like,
she completely dismissed her friends.
Dismissed her friends. And the thing is, for me, it was slightly triggering, because it kind of was like, ooh, I've done that. I did that when I was
You did that.
age.
I had that done to me.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
It was people like you doing that to me.
So we can all relate to the experiences that they went through. And the realism in that is amazing. The other thing as well is that we got to explore headquarters as well. We got to see where they sleep. We hadn't seen that before. And I love the level of detail in the little slumber pots, I'm calling them, where all the emotions were sleeping.
Did you notice that there was a toy Bing Bong in there?
No, I didn't.
Bing Bong from the first movie, there was a toy of him.
Where?
With Joy.
Is that what was on the ledge?
I don't know if it was on a ledge.
Oh, it was like
next
on
to
the
her
side.
where she was sleeping, yeah.
What I did notice, though, is that Joy's little slumber pot looked very similar to Riley's room.
Did it?
Yeah. So
okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because obviously Joy is the one that's is controlling and leading everything. What I loved, my favorite one though, was Anger. Anger had a
fireproof bed and pillow.
Yeah, and he didn't even have a pillow. It was like a brick. This level of detail is amazing, but that's what Pixar's all about. They are really
into these details,
into the details. Like, for them to bring back Bing Bong,
yeah, but like cleverly, they didn't bring him back because he died.
Exactly.
Like that. And if they did bring him back, that would kind of cheapened what happened in the first film. So they didn't do that, but they paid homage to him by having a toy in there.
And what I like as well about this is that we got to...
He's gone, but never forgotten. Sorry to cut you.
No, but you're right, because if it was any other franchise, as we know, they would have brought him back. Yeah. And it would have been silly and it would have ruined it.
That's what I'm saying. This is how you do a sequel.
Exactly.
You respect what's gone before, but you progress from it.
Right. So as we follow Riley on this journey of trying to fit in, trying to prove herself to be this amazing hockey player, this is where anxiety comes in. And what I like is the tension between anxiety and joy.
Right.
Joy's been trying to protect Riley at all costs. Let's just throw these things at the back of the mind. It doesn't matter. But as we know, when we suppress our emotions, when we push things to the back of our mind, they're
festering.
They're festering, and I love that how they represented all of that. But for me, the thing that I think we definitely need to talk about, which is so relevant and understandable as adults, and I've never thought if I could visualize it, what it would look like until I saw Inside Out 2, was when anxiety had a breakdown.
Amazing.
How. And even when you think about the words, you're spiraling out of control.
Yeah.
They visually represented the spiral.
That was like the best shot in a film that had amazing shots throughout.
Yep.
There wasn't one shot in that film where I would look at it and say, this doesn't look incredible.
Yep.
The animation was amazing.
Yep.
And for them to actually have that one moment in it that I would imagine most people agree was the best moment of the film.
It was a rotating orange whirlpool.
But at the same time, you could see her stationary in it.
Yes.
Because she was moving so fast.
Yes.
So you got the essence that she was spinning out of control, but you could still see her.
She was
and a little
spiraling.
twitch in her eye.
Yep.
Animation.
Masterpiece.
Perfect animation. Masterpiece.
It was mesmerizing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my word.
Absolutely.
It was mesmerizing to see.
I remember the feeling of silence in the cinema.
Yes, it was deathly quiet.
Yeah.
Because everyone was like, that's what anxiety looks like.
Yeah.
This is what I mean about being able to visually represent something. And to me, it was like, how would I ever explain what anxiety is to my children? That.
They crushed it.
Like,
They absolutely crushed it.
It's that. Like, it was such an expression.
I feel like I understand my own anxiety better through watching what happened in this film.
Exactly. It just was such a great expression of what emotional turmoil looks like. You feel like you're caught up in this whirlwind and you're still. And she was unable to have any sense of control. She couldn't regulate herself. Joy was able to come through that and help guide her through that. And I was just like...
But you know what I found interesting is the duality that Joy is trying to protect Riley's happiness. Anxiety is also trying to protect Riley's happiness. But the way anxiety is doing it is by stopping her from having happiness.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like they're doing the same job. They're doing it very differently. And they needed to come together. Joy and anxiety needed to come together and have a balance.
Yeah.
Which is where I think we got to at the end of the film.
Yeah, we did. We did. Because all our emotions can coexist at the same time, as we know.
Yeah, and they're all relevant. They're all important.
Yeah, but that's not, what I thought was interesting. I never thought about it in the first one that Joy was the leader until Inside Out 2, and we began. And then it was like, wow, Joy's actually quite dominant here. It didn't really come into my mind in the first one how dominant she was. And she really kept on, she was clinging on to dear life. Like when it came to anxiety, that constant tension of, we've got to help Riley. We've got to help Riley.
Yeah.
And they're in the pursuit of the same thing. They want the same thing.
They're all coming from a place of love for Riley.
Yeah, yeah. But obviously their emotions is what is in the driving seat, which is interesting. But anxiety, Inside Out 2 is... Yeah.
Well done, Disney Pixar.
Well, yeah.
Thank you for an amazing film. Loved it.
What would you give it out of 10?
It's got to be a high 9.5 even. What about you?
Why not a 10?
Not a 10?
Why not a 10? I'm intrigued.
You know what? You're right. I can't point at one thing that detracted from the film for me. So, yeah, okay. I felt like I was going to give my own score, but now I'm going to give your score.
No, you haven't even heard what my score is. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay, what was your score?
10 out of 10.
There you go.
Obviously it's 10 out of 10 because I haven't told you. And recently I've been a bit negative when I'm talking about certain things, acolyte, but I'm not negative about this because this is amazing, right? It's 10 out of 10. There's nothing in this that I can say they should have done better. They should have included. They messed up on this part. absolute perfection. I was emotional throughout. I was engaged. The
was
development
emotional,
of the characters was spot on. It was relatable. It was really easy to follow. It was understanding. 10 out of 10. Thank you very much. Leave it at that, Pixar. Let's not go down the line of Toy Story and start bringing out extra ones. Leave Inside Out 2 just where it is.
You wouldn't go with Inside Out 3?
No.
She's got to grow more.
No, she's got to grow.
She's still growing.
No. I don't.
Okay, I will say I would be happy to have it Inside Out 3 and continue this journey with Riley because it's been so good so far.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Anyway, well, as you can tell, we both very much enjoyed the movie and we're big fans of Inside Out 2. You guys should definitely go and watch it. It is, probably is going to be the best. I mean, is it the only? Yeah, the best animated movie I've seen so far this year. So anyway, we're the Triple Take. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for joining us. Take care.